Lenore Appelhans, and my debut novel, Level 2, is being published by Simon & Schuster Books for Young Readers on January 15th, 2013.
Hi, I'm Phoebe North, and I have been blogging and reviewing since about 2008. I currently maintain a blog about young adult science fiction at www.intergalactic-academy.net. My first book is Starglass. It's coming out in summer of 2013 from Simon & Schuster Books for Young Readers. Like Lenore, my experiences writing have really been shaped by what I learned through reviewing and blogging.
I've been blogging about books at presentinglenore.blogspot.com since 2008. And during this time, I've read hundreds of YA books and read thousands of reviews from other bloggers. This year, Write On Con is all about going back to basics. And I think there's nothing more basic about being a writer than reading. When you read a lot, like most book bloggers do, you start to notice things that you should probably avoid in your own writing. And if you don't avoid those things, well, book bloggers are likely going to point them out to you. That's why Phoebe North, another blogger turned author, and I are going to share with you today 6 pet peeves blogging taught us to avoid. Okay, pet peeve number 1, the dreaded insta-love. Insta-love is when two characters form an undying romantic bond within minutes, hours, or days of meeting one another. Why do book bloggers dislike it? Well, A, it's an overused trope, and B, there's simply not enough tension between the characters, and C, it's really unrealistic. So how do you fix it? First, examine what the relationship means to the story and to the characters. Is there a really good reason why these two have to fall in insta-love? For example, your story dictates that your characters only have one day to live. If not, make your characters work for it. Show the slow burn, the insecurity, the longing, the almost kisses. Keep your reader guessing.
YA authors walk a thin line between accurately reporting the behavior of real teenagers and modeling good behavior for those teenagers. Slut shaming is a problem that comes up kind of out of the tension between the two, and it can occur in any genre of YA. Slut shaming is when a character, usually female, is judged for being sexually active, wearing sexually revealing clothing, or just appearing to have a sex life, whether or not she actually does. It can be subtle and metaphorical. Maybe the only sexually active character in your book dies a grisly death, which makes it seem like you don't really approve of that behavior. Or it can be kind of more overt, like when one female character calls another a slut or a whore because she's wearing revealing clothing. Book bloggers dislike this practice because they feel it's important to talk honestly to teens about the whole spectrum of sexual behavior. Girls shouldn't be ashamed to be sexually active or even to wear clothes that they feel comfortable in. You can avoid this by showing a healthy and realistic spectrum of teen sexuality. Avoid having your female characters judge one another for sexual behavior. And I think most important is to show that it's possible for teen girls to be friends and not just frenemies who compete for the attention of boys.
And now on to pet peeve number 3, too stupid to live characters. What are they? Like those expendable red shirt characters in horror movies that go out into a dark alley when they know a mass murderer is on the loose. Characters who have too stupid to live syndrome do stupid things because the plot dictates that they do so. Why do book bloggers dislike it? Well, when you spend a whole novel following a character, you don't necessarily have to love that character or agree with all of her choices, but you do want to understand the motivations behind her actions. It's frustrating to read a too stupid to live character because you can't understand why she'd be so stupid. So how do you fix it? Sometimes as writers, we get told that our stories are boring, that there's nothing happening, that the stakes are too low. And then to try to fix this and bring in some excitement, we add explosions and danger. But how do we get the character in place to experience this danger? Having the character do stupid things just to further the plot is a shortcut. What we need to do is have the stakes develop organically and as part of the character arc. Think about the character's motivation. How does following her goal lead her into tight situations and confrontations with antagonists?
If you're at all a part of the geek community, you've probably heard the term Mary Sue. It comes out of a fanfic tradition, actually from Star Trek fanfiction, when 15-year-old brilliant engineering students would come onto the ship and steal the hearts of Bones, Spock, Kirk, and Sulu. It's mostly prevalent in fantasy and science fiction writing, and it's now used to describe characters who are just super perfect, who are beautiful and smart and flawless, and who all the boys fall in love with, and usually all the girls hate. Book bloggers dislike this practice because by writing a Mary Sue, you run the risk of creating a character who's really pretty insufferable. Perfect characters are at best really dull to read about. Interesting flaws are what makes your characters human. It'll help your book really come alive and push it beyond pure wish fulfillment. You can avoid writing a Mary Sue by giving your characters realistic flaws, let them have mistakes, and let them run into conflicts with other characters. We don't need to know that everyone loves your main character to love her too. In fact, a realistically complex character is much more likely to be celebrated by readers and book bloggers.
Pet peeve number 5. I call this one Emerald Eyes. Something that can get pretty groan-worthy once you've read enough YA books is the prevalence of characters who have this amazing otherworldly beauty. These are characters who have emerald-colored eyes, piercing sapphire blue eyes, violet eyes. There's bonus groan points if the main character with these amazing eyes admires them in the mirror in the first chapter. It's not that readers or book bloggers want your characters to be homely with eyes the color of mud. It's just that we see these exaggerated descriptions of beauty all too often. And the thing is, attractiveness is not only about looks. What kinds of emotions shine in those eyes? How does a look from those eyes make another character feel? Can you give your character unusual characteristics that make them stand out from the mass of attractive characters in fiction? Well, you're more likely to be able to do so if you read a lot and know what's already out there. Don't go for the easy, generic physical description.
Infodumping is a practice found almost exclusively in science fiction and fantasy, in genre fiction. In fact, if you encountered it in a contemporary novel, it might become clear why the habit is so loathed by so many readers. Infodumping occurs when the plot screeches to a halt so that your narrator or your characters can introduce world-building elements in a really awkward and disruptive fashion. Maybe your narrator lectures us on how the world works, intricacies of science or history that he or she probably wouldn't know or care about in real life. Book bloggers dislike this because it can trip up the flow of your novel. It just doesn't feel natural, it can take you out of the book. Real people don't stop what they're doing to discuss the political machinations of world leaders in the middle of a conversation about their dinner. You can avoid infodumping by scattering your world building throughout your text. Information should kind of come at a place where it's natural, at a place where readers anticipate questions. The fact that you're writing genre fiction is no excuse to introduce elements of your world in an unnatural way.
If you start reading critical reviews regularly, you'll begin to notice other blogger pet peeves. Some of those can include bad slang, lack of diversity, and controlling love interests. We hope you're enjoying Write on Con and that you found this vlog helpful. Happy reading!
And happy writing!